Hell is filled with people like you.
This is Sean O'Toole with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Catch me drive time with Matt the Game, the Armchair Quarterbacks, radio show, and Facebook Live.
Big news and the big games covered in the Big Ten by the Armchair Quarterbacks all year long.
Third down and about 22. Smith rushes. Oh, he's got his tight end. Michigan leads the game with a first touchdown. 71 yards. Now State's lead 7-3. That's that old 1-2 punch you make to him the first time.
In his career, Lorenzo White 15 times rushed for 100 yards in a half. 5 of those this season. On 2nd and 10.
Big Ten football covered in the Southeast by the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekends in the fall just got a hell of a lot better. Saturday mornings, it's Dixie Football Nation. We talk SEC, ACC, the Big Ten, and more. As the only true Southern football kickoff show, you don't want to miss it. The Armchair Quarterbacks have got you covered all football season long. Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. We cover the whole SEC all season long.
First and goal. Franks. Jump pass. Hello, Tebow. From going deep. High arcing shot. It is hauled in. Terry Godwin. And he stays up. Godwin dances into the end zone. 75 yards. Tagovailoa flushed out of the pocket. He'll run with it. He's got the first down and more. Still on the run. He is gone. Touchdown, Alabama. Second down and 10. Garantano over the middle. Ty Chandler. It's a race to the end zone, and he wins it. 42 yards. Touchdown, Tennessee. What a great.
Armchair.
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Drive time. Armchair Quarterback Show. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
You're watching the most exciting game you will ever see on your TV set. Telstar by Coleco with 3 different games. Telstar Tennis with digital scoring, variable speeds. Telstar Hockey. Each player controls a goalie plus a forward on the other side. Oops, a goal. And Telstar Singles Handball, a game you play yourself. Telstar Handball, Tennis, Hockey, all 3 at an exciting low price. For great family fun, hitch your TV to a Telstar by Coleco.
Did you get all that?
Go away.
That was cool. Yeah, customers suck.
So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying? No, I got to get my money. I'm not playing unless I get mine. It's not worth it. It's not.
For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
The zone. To win the Stanley Cup. 28.8 seconds left. The league will tie the game.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, covering the NHL like no other.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
I can't file. I can't type. I don't take dictation. I won't sharpen pencil. My boss calls me indispensable.
Miss Jones.
Just a minute.
Will you make a copy of this?
Naturally. I push the button on the Xerox 914. I make perfect copies of whatever my boss needs by just turning a knob and pushing a button. Anything he can see, I can copy in black and white on ordinary paper. And am I fast? I can make 7 copies in a minute. Sometimes my boss asks me which is the original, and sometimes I don't know.
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays, your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
What's going on here, guys? All right, Coach, so basically it was a holding call. But these dudes started me in their fantasy league, which is cool because this dude started our quarterback, but he started our kicker and I started their defense, so it's kind of a pickle.
Compromising the integrity of this game with your fantasy football leagues? Listen to me. If there was holding, you make that holding call. I don't care if it was on our team or not. I care about this game too much to let you.
Coach, you started their defense too, didn't you?
Yeah, you definitely started their defense.
Damn right I did.
Armchair.
If only the world was less like this.
I could use a smoke.
Hey, put that out.
And more like this.
I could use a smoke.
You murderer! I might have children one day.
Smoking kills, unless you kill first. If you're around a smoker, you will die. Smokers may look relaxed and like they're having fun. Don't believe it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Let's outlaw smoking everywhere, even in people's homes, and allow honest citizens to legally kill anyone who smokes. Let's live in a world without smokers. Prohibition works. Let's prove it. Vote yes on Proposition 421.
Armchair.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. SEC, ACC, and Big Ten coverage like no other. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year long and your DFS payouts. Your only true Southern football kick
I love you so much.
Are you kidding?
No, what do you want for Christmas this year?
To lose weight. That'd be really nice.
What's the difference between you and a calendar? Huh? A calendar has dates. What the?
Armchair.
Welcome to the Handicappers, your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football, year long, and your DFS payouts. True Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, in your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers. Welcoming in Bobby the Kid with Joey and Tones Areola, with Stephen Troche and Sean O'Toole on the way. With your host, Mac McGee. Welcome to the Handicappers. I apologize. I did not know my microphone was on. So if any of y'all have been sitting out there wondering, I do apologize. Thank you. I'll restart, and essentially what I'm going to say is this: Colts, Bucks. This has just been a terrible morning. Colts, Bucks are playing at it in Indianapolis. 3-point favorite is Tampa Bay. Sorry, that threw me off there for a second. What I was getting at was that the Colts have a very good chance of making the playoffs as a wild card. This is a big game. If they're going to catch the Titans in the division, this is an enormous game. They're 2 games back in the loss column, but they don't have the tiebreaker. Tennessee will have the tiebreaker. So they're really 3 games back of Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's probably going to take an L today in New England. Now, every time you think you got the NFL figured out, I mean, this would be a perfect time, wouldn't it, for the Titans to go in and beat the New England Patriots by 30 in Foxborough, and everyone goes, what the hell? But let's be honest. New England should beat Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't have any of their star players. I think they're going to struggle to score. I think that under is very attractive as well. The over-under is 43. If you can find it on your book, Mac Jones' pass attempts is 29. Jump on that because he has averaged 26 pass attempts per game. His over-under today is 29, and they should get a lead pretty early and be able to just sit on the ball. And you know, if Belichick gets a 10 to 12 point lead against the Titans, he's just going to sit on the ball because the Titans are not going to be able to come up. They don't have Derrick Henry. They don't have Julio Jones. They don't have A.J. Brown now, who just headed to the IR yesterday. So this is a situation where the Titans are trying to get through to the bye week. They're on a bye week next week. They come off, and then they'll be at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they're hoping to have Julio back. They hope that they can figure out a way to win that game against Jacksonville at home and then get A.J. Brown fully healthy for the stretch run. But as far as Colts and Bucks right now, look, it's -3. And once again, going back to the actual line this morning, -3, the Bucks, the over under is 53. And yeah, Brian, it was my bad. It was on my end. Just a disaster of all kinds of things that went for this morning. To my main machine that plays all the clips and everything, it didn't load. The video that I was supposed to start the show off with, it didn't load. It was a whole 9 yards. And then of course the Areola brothers are in Indianapolis. So Bobby's joining here in just a minute, and we're going to get into our fantasy football. But I did just want to touch on starting the show off. It's been a rocky start, and I do apologize that we are looking at now the Colts, Bucks, Tampa Bay -3, the over-under's 53. I think if I'm going to go one way or the other on the over-under, although I'm staying away from it, I like the over. Tampa Bay is a better football team, but they're going to be on the road, and the Colts have been hot. I don't feel really comfortable about this game one way or the other. I think it's a coin toss. I think it's going to come down to who does not turn the ball over. But if the Buccaneers are going to be that Super Bowl favorite, this is kind of a game that they need to win. Because if they drop this game, that would be 3 of their last 4. And at that point, I believe would make it almost impossible for them to come up with the number 1 seed in the NFC. That's going to be a tough stretch as is, because Arizona's playing phenomenal football. But if you can get this W next week, you got the Falcons. You like your chances there. And then it's at home against the Bills. That'll be a tough one, but I think they can get that W. And then at home against the Saints, which I think that game's going to get flexed. Right now, it's the Sunday night game on December 19th, but that game is going to be terrible. Nobody's going to want to watch that. So I think that thing gets flexed into the afternoon. And then they play the Panthers, Jets, and Panthers. They can go on a run and they can make a good shot. Tampa Bay is an older veteran team. Tampa Bay wants the bye. No doubt about it. They want the bye. I'm going to go ahead and give you my DFS lineup as Bobby gets set here to join us here in 1 second. And remember, today it's a smaller slate because of the NFL Thursday action. So you love the fact that you're getting the 3 games on Thursday, but it kind of sucks because the Sunday is always kind of a dud and you're hoping for a good gamer here, here or there. But today is going to be a tight day. And a lot of people have already gotten pigeonholed. They've already started guys or they benched guys. And now they're going, who do I start now? What do I do now? So I'm going to start off with my lineup here. And by the way, Brian, thank you for letting me know on the feed, because I was just sitting here rattling on like a dumbass. I'm just talking, and I look over and go, my stupid mic is down. I don't know when that happened. I'll say it's got something to do with the FSU loss and the large amounts of whiskey that I put away after the FSU loss. I started on beer. I did good. But once they lose, it's like, okay, it's a wrap. Great games, by the way, yesterday in college football. Bobby's coming on right now, so I'll hold off 1 second before I give you my DFS lineup as he goes to join on. Bobby, how are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing good. Big, well, not too big, but it was a win for Florida yesterday. I'm happy with that. A good day of college football altogether. So I'm hoping we get another good day of football today with the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, probably the biggest win in Florida football history. I mean, be able to beat that juggernaut of Florida State. Were they not absolutely atrocious when Jordan Travis came out of the game for like a quarter? I
mean, Milton threw that one pick, and I was like, it was
absolutely god awful.
Yeah.
They had only scored 7 points going into the fourth quarter. Now they made a good rally. I don't know what the hell that kicker did on the onside kick. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. But all in all, I was proud that Florida State didn't get blown out. I really was concerned. All joking aside, I was concerned that they weren't going to be able to stop the Gators offense, which wasn't true. They bottled them up pretty good. And if it wasn't for some stupid things like the idiot kick returner Wilson with his goofy ass drop of the punt, and then and I was watching with a Gator fan, my first reaction was, if you look at his reaction, he's almost timid when the ball goes off his hand. He's almost timid on whether or not. I mean, when that ball goes down like that, and there's a guy jumping on, dude, you got to slam into him because you got to hope the ball comes loose. Because the thing about a football as opposed to other balls, it's not round. So you take funny bounces and you've got to slam your body in there to try to get the ball loose. And if you can get the ball loose, who knows? Because then other guys can come in. But he just kind of went, well, I guess it's yours. I mean, that was ridiculous. But all in all, pretty good ball game considering how bad the teams were.
Florida State kind of pulled close at the end.
Yeah,
I mean, got back in it.
Yeah, I mean, if they get that onside kick, I think FSU probably gets the W. But regardless, I was happy that they didn't get blown out. And because look, 2 months ago, dude, I was thinking that game was gonna be 60-2. I was like, we don't play very good defense, but we're making up with it with a piss poor offense. And thankfully, our defense finally got to our offense still stinks. They're going to have to get that figured out by next year. I love Jordan Travis, but that guy is not an elite quarterback in college football. And
no, he's not going to win too many games.
Right. Assuming he comes back next year. I don't know what he has going on in his life. Maybe he's decided to move on from college football. I mean, he will technically be a senior, but it'll be a redshirt junior. But I guess really he would be 2019, he was a redshirt freshman when he came to FSU. He was a sophomore last year, but that technically makes him a sophomore this year because of the COVID junk.
Okay.
So in theory, he could have 2 more years. But
does Florida State want 2 more years out of him?
I don't know.
Question, I guess.
I mean, he's not James Blackman bad.
Yeah, he's not. No.
He's good, but one of the biggest problems is, look, if you're going to have him, you have to have a backup plan, literally, because he gets hurt all the damn time. Mainly because the best thing that he brings to the table is his legs, and he's not a big guy. So when he gets banged, things are going to happen. So they've got to have a better backup plan than, hey, let's throw freaking 47-year-old Milton in there and see what's going on. I mean, I look between the two of them. I thought Roadmaker threw much crisper passes, but outside of the Ohio State upset, what was your favorite game of the day yesterday?
Got to be the Battle in Bedlam. That game was incredible. That game was really good. I mean, full of drama. At the end, there was a look. I'm not gonna sit here and feel bad for Oklahoma. I'm never gonna do that. But they missed a pretty bad pass interference that probably cost them the game.
That game was insane. And how about the quarterback scrambling for 56 yards, basically up the gut?
That was incredible. Yeah,
I was like, oh my God. I was starting to think that he was going to actually make it to the damn goal line.
I thought he was too. I was like, oh, they're going to win this game.
Well, this is insane.
Yeah, the Oklahoma State's defense, they held true. They got that stop at the end, and that's all they needed.
Yeah, they played much better in the second half than the
absolutely
State defense. And I'm really looking forward to the Big 12 championship game. I'm really looking forward to. I honestly think the ACC championship game is going to be a really good matchup. I know nobody cares who wins, but I think it's going to be a matchup. I'm going to say it right now, and I don't know what the spread is because they haven't released it officially yet. Take the Georgia Bulldogs all day long next week. I don't care what the spread is.
No, Alabama's not good. And I was so close to getting my name back in the crazy underdog up at the top of that. If Auburn would have hung on, I would have got 20.5 points. But
you think Alabama's going to beat Georgia?
No. I'm saying my underdog pick last week. I picked Auburn to maybe win or just cover. They covered at least, but if I won, I would have got 20.5 points.
I think Georgia's.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be a methodical, like a 30-10 type of win. But I look, from what I saw yesterday, I've watched a handful of Alabama games this year. But once again, and I've said this all year long, they really haven't played the schedule that everyone thinks they have because they're in the Southwestern Conference. If you look at their schedule, they played one team that I would say is good, but very inconsistent, is Texas A&M. Okay. When they beat Florida, everyone thought that was like this big matchup, and now come to find out Florida sucks. Okay. So Alabama almost lost that game. I mean, you could argue that Florida probably should have won that game. Now, would that have changed the trajectory of the season? Who knows? But the simple fact I think they almost lost to a Florida team that had to win yesterday to get in a bowl.
Yeah, Alabama's played way too close against too many not so good teams.
Auburn's not any good, and they didn't even have their starting quarterback.
They almost lost to Arkansas last week. Alabama
could not handle the blitz, and Georgia's seen that. It's on. Bryce Young is overrated as hell. I've been saying it all year long. He does not deserve to be in the Heisman race. And from what I saw of yesterday, if that doesn't knock him out of the Heisman race, nothing will. Because then
I think Stroud's got to be the guy.
It's got to be. Even in a loss, Stroud still put up some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, and he fought hard to get back.
The only other guy that I would put up there, but they just don't do it anymore. See, when I was growing up, it was literally given to the best player in college football. Now they give it to the best player on one of the teams that make the playoffs, which is crap. And now they pretty much, it's become a quarterback award. But the guy that I would personally vote for is the tailback from Michigan State.
Kenneth Walker, yeah. He's been a monster this year.
He's been their team. He's been their offense. And I mean, give it to a running back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, but was Derrick Henry the last?
I think, yeah, him and McCaffrey were both nominees that year. I think that was the last time.
Henry won.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think if there's been, I don't think, and honestly, I don't think there's been many.
I think there's been candidates, but
no,
I can't think of a winner.
I'm talking about actual Heisman winner.
Yeah.
See, I remember a year, I think it was 94, where the Heisman Trophy went to Rashawn Salam, and I don't expect you to know him, but he was on a very
He was a Colorado receiver, no?
Yeah. Tailback. So
tailback, yeah.
So he was on a very average Colorado football team.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't the Colorado team that went and split the national championship in 90 with Notre Dame. This was like 94. I mean, they were okay, right? And you don't see that anymore. You don't see Barry Sanders winning the Heisman.
Yeah.
Because when they would do the Heisman back in the day, it was literally supposed to be, look at this guy's stats. And then the argument was always, well, what conference does he play in? And can you give it to a winner of, in other words, are you going to give it to, I'll give you an example. If it was a really good tailback that played at Cincinnati this year and put up a ton of yards, the argument would be, would you give it to him because he has more yards, more touchdowns, or would you give it to Walker because he plays in the Big Ten? Yeah. So I'm trying to find, okay, here's the list of recent winners, and quarterback, wide receiver, Devontae Smith. Okay.
Smith, yeah.
Yeah, so Derrick Henry won it in 2015. And that's
what was the last running back, right?
Yeah. And that's what I thought. Mark Ingram, also Alabama running back, won it in 2009. And other than that, you have to go back to Ron Dane to find where the running backs kind of cut off, which was 1999. In 2000, Winky won it, and there was a quarterback run that lasted until Ingram won it. But basically, in this century, there's been 2 running backs and a wide receiver win the Heisman. The rest of them all been quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, because that's what the Doak Walker Award is for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with the quarterback getting an award, but the Heisman Trophy, literally, when you say the Heisman Trophy, what do you think of? The trophy itself, right? And it's a running back doing this. Mm-hmm. It's not a guy doing this. So I'm like, they've just lost their way on the Heisman. It really ticks me off. I've said this several times over the last few weeks, but they have flip-flopped in Major League Baseball and MVP award and the Heisman Trophy award of what they used to, what they were intended to be. The Heisman was intended to be the greatest player. It's really turned into an MVP award because you're picking a player who made the playoffs normally, or right there at the cusp of it. Conversely, Major League Baseball MVP used to always go to a guy that really was important to his team's win, and now they're just giving it to guys who had good years. So the whole thing's, which I blame that whole thing on the analytics, because the analytic geeks got involved in it and started getting votes, and so they go, look at the WAR, look at the FIBA and little whip and it's just like, oh, dude. But he's got like 5 wins and 16 losses. Yeah, but man, you see a strikeout rate in the 7th inning? That's really good. Let's give it to him. Oh, freaking dorks. Give me your damn lunch money and get out of my way. Okay. All right. I'm telling you, Bobby, you're a dying breed, because you're one of the few young men that I've met recently who absorbs football and baseball, basketball, you name it, sports, the way I did back then. Nowadays,
they just watching it.
Yeah, nowadays, these doofuses don't even watch the games. They probably couldn't even tell you what most of the guys look like. All they do is stare in front of a computer and look at their stats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm in fantasy football leagues with people who don't watch football. They're like, oh, well, no, but I was like, how is that even any fun? Well, because I get the updates on my phone and blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, dude, then really you're just in the middle of a math quiz. All right, whatever.
That reminds me, like, I see arguments all the time. I was having an argument with someone about a Cardinals cornerback, and they kept mentioning, or they kept bringing up all types of stats and numbers that they're reading and stuff. And that's, I mean, I get that, but when you watch a tape, half the Cardinals games have been blowouts this year. Mm-hmm. And once we start getting ahead like that, we just go to that soft zone where we just, let them get first down, whatever. It just, bend, don't break type stuff, and play that soft zone where they'll get those like 10-yard curls or whatever, and over and over and over. And that kind of skews their stats. And then people go and read those stats, and then that kind of warps their entire opinion about a player. And it's like, you got to watch the game, or at least like watch the film afterwards to figure out how you feel about a player. I hate that people rely strictly on stats now. I don't know how many times
I've said it, but you have to watch the damn game. Mm-hmm. If you don't watch the game, and I'm not talking about whether you're doing what we're doing or if you're just a fan, listener, whatever. If you don't watch the game, you don't really know what the hell you're talking about. And I'm just going to put it a different way. I think you're cheating yourself. If you're absorbing sports by just video clips, highlight clips, and stats, if that's the only way you absorb it, how is that any fun? I mean, the most fun I have as a fan is, are you serious? Can you believe that? You're watching the game and you get pissed off, or you get happy because of a really good play. And that's, I can remember so many plays have been burned in my memory in all sports over the years of epic plays in big rivalry games, big games, period. That's, that's what it's all about.
Watching it live is just different. It's not the same.
Yeah. And
there's nothing
to your point, I mean, that's a very good point. Arizona's won a lot of games by big margins. So obviously they're going to play a soft zone. So you're saying people are coming at you and say, well, this guy's giving up this many yards, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And I'm like,
but dude, what's he giving up in the first and second quarter?
Exactly.
Right? All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the DFS. I'll go ahead and throw mine out real quick, and then we'll jump to yours. My DFS lineup looks like this. I did this on Whiskey yesterday, so we'll see how we're at. Okay, so I'm going Joe Burrow. He's at home against Pittsburgh, against the 30th ranked pass defense against quarterbacks in fantasy. So I'm going to go ahead and throw him out there. And obviously I'll pair him with Jamar Chase. And then my running backs, I'm going AJ Dillon, still at 5,900. I think that's still, I get it that he's going to be going up against that, that front line of the Rams, but at 5,900, I just think he's a steal. James Robinson, Whiskey was involved in this, but James Robinson, I'm going to go with him. He's only 6,200. He's going up against a sieve of a run defense in Jacksonville. In Atlanta. They're playing the game in Jacksonville. I'm going to go and say that the Jags are actually going to go out there and put up a good number today and find a way to get that W. My second wide receiver. Oh, by the way, Burrow 6,200, Dillon 5,900, Robinson is 6,200, and Chase is 7,300. Bad job by me by not saying that earlier. Deebo Samuel, 7,900. He should get the ball quite a bit today, whether it's in the passing game or the running game. 7,900. I know that's a big number, but that should be a fairly high scoring game against Minnesota. When they've played Minnesota in the past several years, they've put up a lot of points on them. MVS is my cheap receiver at 4,100. I'm really just hoping for a big, long, busted play. That's pretty much what MVS brings to the table. And 4,100, you can't expect much else. My tight end is Noah Fant. It's going up against the 31st ranked defenses on tight ends. He's only 4,600, so I went ahead and took that. I didn't take the big chunk that I normally do with Kyle Pitts or someone of that nature. And my flex, I'm going with Elijah Moore, 5,600. Corey Davis isn't going to play against Houston. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. I find it odd that the over-under is so low. And that left me with the Jacksonville Jaguar defense at 2,200. So there's my team. What is your DFS lineup?
All right. So starting with quarterback, we got Kirk Cousins for 6,300 against the 49ers defense. They're 26th against quarterbacks in fantasy lineups this year. I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. I like Cousins, and I like the receivers in this matchup too, specifically Debo and Justin Jefferson today. My running back, though, is Elijah Mitchell. Again, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. He's coming back from an injury, so he's a little bit cheap at 5,400. The Vikings defense isn't very good this year, and I'm just hoping that he can get some goal line carries today.
And he is expected to play now, right?
Yes. Yeah, he is expected to play. Jonathan Taylor at 9,100. I went big here. Not much explanation needed for him. I mean, he's
go big or go home, baby.
Absolutely. 21st ranked defense. That's what the Bucs are, and against.
By the way, the brothers Ariola are at that game today.
Oh, okay. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, one's a Bucs fan, one's a Colts fan. That'll be fun.
There's gonna be fisticuffs for sure.
Yeah, depending on who wins. My wide receiver one, I got Jamar Chase at 7,300. Went with Sam with same logic as you. This should be a big game for Chase. He's been a little bit quiet lately, but I think this is a big bounce back game. He has a good chance to do so because Joe Hayden, he's going to be out today for the Steelers. My wide receiver 2 is Michael Pittman for 5,600. He's going up against the Bucs defense, which their secondary has been pretty weak this year. I anticipate this being a very high scoring game between both teams. So I'm hoping Pittman gets a lot of involvement in the offense today. I think he will. I think both teams are going to go to the air a lot today. My wide receiver 3 is Nelson Aguilar for 4,300 against the Titans. I know Patriots receivers have been a little bit inconsistent this year. It seems like one has a good game and then kind of falls off for a couple weeks. But I think just about every receiver in the Patriots offense has a chance to go off today. The Titans offense is hampered with injuries, so they probably won't be on the field too much. And I think their secondary is just not good at all outside of Kevin Byard, really. Against what?
That game is going to be brutal.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I didn't even notice that A.J. Brown was on IR until this morning. I was like, wow, okay.
It was either late Friday or very early Saturday that they put him on there. I was like, well, that's good because I almost had a full lineup that I didn't have to go out there and stream, someone terrible to put him on receiver. Like, God, and they do this during what was it? The Chiefs are on a bye. I think there's a couple other teams that really screwed me on this whole bye week thing. But anyways,
yeah. My tight end, I got Gronk for 4,400 against the Colts. He had 8 targets last week, which is big. I think he finished with 13 points. I'm hoping he can get in the end zone today and keep getting that same amount of targets. So he could put up those reception numbers. My flex, I got Marquez Valdes-Scantling as well for 4,100 against the Rams. This is another game that I think should be pretty high scoring, and I'm hoping that Scantling can have one of those big plays where he just beats him deep. And I think Lazard, he's questionable going into this game as well, so that could have an impact on how much usage he gets. My defense is Chargers for 3,400. They're going up against a pretty weak Broncos offense, and divisional games aren't typically too high scoring, so I'm going to take the Chargers for 3,400 there.
All right. What are your bold and cold predictions today?
All right, some guys that I think are going to have a big day. I got both Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I think the Bengals offense is going to have a nice day, but I specifically like those two because Joe Hayden, the Steelers cornerback one, is out for this game. And, Chase, like I said, he's been a little bit quiet the past couple weeks, hasn't put up big numbers. He was on a bye as well. So I think this is a good chance for him to throw his name back in the Rookie of the Year conversation and have a huge game. My second and third, I guess, for Boom. I got the Bucs and Colts passing offense all together, quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, the whole board. The weak point for both these teams is the secondaries, and I think both teams are going to try and take advantage of that today. I think they're going to go to the air a lot. I see Brady having a big game, Wentz as well. Wentz hasn't been, he's not an incredible quarterback by any means, but he's been very serviceable for the Colts this year, and I think he can put up quite a few points today. So I like both passing offenses today. A couple guys that I have in my busts are Brandon Cooks. He's still pretty pricey amongst the wide receivers, but he really hasn't had a lot of production lately. He's kind of banking off that first few weeks of the season where he was really good, but as of late, he hasn't been doing much at all. He had a chance last week to have a big game against the really weak Titans secondary, and he just didn't do much. And for his price tag, I don't think he's worth it at all. And I wouldn't trust him in my DFS lineups until he does have that big game again. My second guy for busts are Fournette. I like him most weeks, but I really think the Bucs and the Colts are going to be going at it through the air today for the most part. And outside of maybe getting some goal line carries, I don't see him having a huge day.
I've got one coming in. Got to pick one of these wide receivers. So you got Elijah Moore, who's at Houston, Adam Thielen at San Francisco, or what was the third one? Devontae Smith at the Giants.
I think all three of those are really good options.
Call me crazy. Is Elijah Moore sounding good in that one?
He kind of is to me. I mean, he's been great the past few weeks. He's been putting up big numbers.
I'm looking at the actual lineup, right? Like the actual defensive lineup in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking at the fact that Elijah Moore, so Houston's given up the 8th most points against wide receivers. San Francisco against Thielen, that's 26th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately want to take Thielen out of the conversation. But then you got Devontae Smith, and it's right in the middle, 13th for wide receivers. My problem with Devontae Smith is he seems like he's all or nothing.
Yeah, very inconsistent this year, points wise.
So, gun to your head, who are you taking in that game?
It's between Thielen and Elijah Moore, but you said Corey Davis was out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, given that's going down, and Elijah Moore's been playing great the past few weeks. I'd ride the hot hand and go with Elijah Moore against the weak defense today.
It sounds crazy, but maybe he's found something with Joe Flacco.
Maybe that's the guy he likes to go to, or maybe that's the guy Flacco likes to go to.
I believe Zach Wilson's supposed to start today, so that makes me a little nervous. But hell, maybe I don't know, man.
I think the main issue with Elijah Moore, prior to the past few weeks, I guess when he's been really good, he just wasn't getting a lot of snaps, and that's I guess coaches just didn't feel like it was his time to go out there and hit the field yet. But I think he certainly proved himself, and he should still get quite a few snaps and targets today. I don't see why he wouldn't.
The kid is electric. What do you have, like 130 yards receiving last week? I think it was
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, you get the ball in his hand. To me, he's a guy that I've got to find a way to get the ball in his hands no matter what. If it's a bubble screen, if it's if it's an end around, whatever the hell it is. I just I've got to find a way to get the ball in his hands. I think that's who I like. I think I would go with Elijah Moore. I know that sounds nuts, but let's see, we got an update here on Cordell Patterson. Is he going to play? Let's see what we got here. It's still saying game time decision, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell people on that accord. Here's another one coming in. Brandon Cooks or Elijah Moore.
I'd go Elijah Moore. Brandon Cooks just hasn't done enough lately, and I'd keep him on the bench really until he has that big game where he proves that he should be back in starting lineups.
Yeah, and it's been a little disappointing because I thought bringing Tyrod Taylor back would get him to where he was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And he really hasn't. Now, they've got a 3-game stretch that I'm looking at right now where they're going to be at home against the Jets, Indianapolis, and Seattle. That leads you into the playoffs because we're 3 weeks away from the fantasy football playoffs from the beginning in most leagues. If he hasn't done it by then, I don't know if you can trust him. But you would love to have Brandon Cooks in your lineup in week 15 if you're in that first week of the playoffs against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But to your point, I almost think you have to sit him before you bench. I mean, have him burn you before.
You put him back in.
The Saquon Barkley thing is he? Okay, he is expected to play. He has been terrible. Okay. Yeah, absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Such a talent too, but he has been absolutely terrible. The question is Saquon Barkley or Devontae Smith. I mean, I think I got to put Devontae Smith in there. All these projected numbers that you'll see next to Barkley's name, I think you have to throw them out the window. I think all of those were made back in August.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had 6 carries the other night. 6.
Yeah. It's been a rough year for Barkley and him in fantasy for sure.
That guy gets 15 carries in my backfield. I don't give a damn what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Joe Judge, no, you're going to now. It'll be interesting to see what happens now that they've gotten rid of the coordinator, and will they lean on Barkley? But
that's true.
Don't you have to bench him before you I mean, basically just say, you got to burn me, baby.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations. The only problem with it, though, is the guy you're benching him for being Devontae Smith. With how just inconsistent he's been this year, he's had big games, but he's also had really bad games where he just isn't involved much in the offense. And I kind of worry about that happening this week because he did have a big day last week, I believe. So I'm just worried he'll go back to, low scoring this week. And
so Barkley, the last 3 weeks, okay, so last week was so-so. It was 4 catches for 61 yards. But the week before that, 4 for 66, but 2 touchdowns. And
that's right. That's what
for that, 5 for 116 and a touchdown. Prior to that, he'd had a bunch of whiffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I mean, against Detroit, he had 1 catch for 15 yards. The Detroit Lions.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what concerns me. I'm worried he'll have one of those weeks again. But, if it's been 3 straight weeks of high production, then I'd ride the hot hand and go with Devontae Smith then. But why? I don't know. I'd be a little bit wary of him having just one of those games where he just doesn't get involved. That's my only concern.
Well, let's go ahead and take that break at the top of the hour as Steven and Sean are joining us, and we'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks Handicappers.
You say your name right now.
Denise. Nice.
That's better. Thank you.
Okay. I've noticed that Antonio Brown has found yet another sucker to take him on. God knows we've already done Pittsburgh's dirty laundry. I'm curious about one thing. Do you think that he'd be welcomed back as easily in the league if he were going back to Bill Belichick and the Patriots? In other words, you think that he'd be welcome back if he were going to make New England a better team, or if he's going back to Tom Brady?
Armchair. We are the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for sports talk live from the first coast.
What do we do? This just got way too complicated.
I've got it. Here's what's going down. Corey, you talk to your team. You guys are going to decline that holding call.
Done.
Y'all wait, but then...
Hold on. Trayshawn, once we break this huddle, you're going to get out there, do some crazy celebration. I'm talking some humpies. Whatever you got to do, you do it.
Okay, I got you.
I'm going to call unsportsmanlike conduct on the celebration, giving the Whites better field position after the kickoff. Coach, I need you to talk to your team about letting them run that kickoff back.
Why would I do that?
Think about it. Defense, special teams, it's all one. You let them run that kickback, both your defenses get 6 points.
Nice.
Okay, everyone good here?
Yeah.
Nope. Once again, my kicker is getting no love. Oh, shut up, Bill. Your team is in first place. Plus, you're about to get extra point for the PAT.
Yeah, don't be greedy, Bill.
Stop being greedy, Bill.
Bill. Fine.
Bill. Yeah, Bill.
I said fine.
Bill.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
You, Bill.
All right, let's do this. Get out there.
Wait a minute. Trayshawn comes in with a very delayed celebration here. Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure that's going to be there it is. Another
Armchair.
I said it like 4 times, so why didn't you say it the first time?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
Armchair Quarterback Radio is AFC South country all NFL season long.
They hand it off Fournette. He's driving, and he's in for the touchdown.
Drive starts at the 1 and looking for a little breathing room, and they get that in plenty more. Derrick Henry still going. Stays in bounds. He might go 99 yards for the touchdown. Unbelievable. 2nd and 10. He's set. Walk downfield. And that is Hilton again. First and goal. Ebron. What a year for him. Eric Ebron. Touchdown. Ball slant. Caught. Touchdown. Marquise Lee. And he punched the ball into the stands. Deep. And he's got it. Keelan Cole, touchdown Jacksonville.
Stay locked in to the AFC South on Armchair Quarterback Radio.
I don't return fruit.
Good morning. Fantasy Football Week 12. And the Michigan Wolverines are headed to the Big Ten Championship game. Welcoming onto the shows Mr. Sean O'Toole and Stephen Trost. Sean will give you the floor first since that you had the big day. How are you?
I can't recall a better day in the history of my sports fandom. The Red Wings won in overtime. Something I thought I would maybe not see again in this life happened yesterday, and I got nothing. The only thing that could have made yesterday better is if the Tigers had signed Carlos Correa for like $110 million instead of $375, which is probably what they're going to end up giving him. So I don't have words, man. I don't have words. I was inconsolable yesterday afternoon. It was great. Meant a lot.
Congratulations on that. The whole world was pulling for y'all. So I'll just put it that way. Stephen Trosh, how the hell are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great. I was about to say, I'm not doing anywhere near as good as Sean is, but I'm ready for this week 12. I'm like, we got a great day of football ahead.
Yeah, they yesterday, you had Bedlam, you had, the game, you had a hell of a game in the Iron Bowl that unfortunately didn't go the way that everyone wanted it to. But the good thing about that was after it ended, I was like, this sucks, man. Alabama always finds a way. I'm like, you know what? At least it makes the SEC championship watchable now, because if Alabama would have lost, there would have been no reason to watch that. You'd be like, whatever, Georgia, they could have lost 100-0 next weekend and still make the plus. Now that they know that Alabama's still alive, Georgia's going to want to be the one that puts the death nail in them. So, by the way, there are reports out there that the Mets are going after Max Scherzer. Wouldn't that be something?
Ooh.
Yeah. I love that Cohen owns that team. All those guys are going to be injured in the first week of spring training. He's just spending. He's the new Steinbrenner. He's the new Steinbrenner, man. I love him.
He's Steinbrenner. He's Steinbrenner with the tweeter machine account is what he is.
Yep. That is exactly what he is. I love him.
I give you a hard time, Sean. His tweets never age well. I mean, it's
terrible.
The moment he sets them off, like 7,500 people who quote tweet and go, "Look at this junk! Look at this moron!" And they're usually like people with blue check marks next to them. It's not like you and I drunk on the couch, making fun of them. It's Adam Schefter, who does he watch baseball? Is going, what the hell is this idiot talking about? All right, let's go ahead and dive into the MASH report, sir.
All right, starting with this week's MASH report. Players who are expected to play today. Saquon Barkley was listed as questionable due to an ankle injury. He is expected to give it a go. Aaron Jones, game time decision. We've talked about this before on the show, but those 3:25 Central, 4:25 Eastern kickoffs, if they're listed as questionable, you can't roll with it. Some late reporting out of the Rams HQ from Diana Rossini, who's usually pretty well sourced, is that Stafford is all banged up, sore ankle, pain in his throwing arm, and a sore back. And I don't know if any of you have been to Wisconsin in December. I have. It ain't exactly fun to be there in good conditions, much less if you're feeling bad in any of those extremities. So that one's a little bit interesting.
I have it on my bucket list to never go to Wisconsin in November. Okay.
Hey, yeah, go in the summertime. The cheese is great. It's tastes the same in August as it does in November. I went to
Milwaukee for a concert, but I have a strict. I'm not going to Wisconsin when it's past August. I'm just not.
It's the opposite for me. It's a bucket list to go to a snow game in Lambeau.
Well, I will be not right beside you. I'll
be watching that on TV.
I say now, 5 years from now, I'm going to be slammed out of my mind. Next to Trosh will be shirtless in the snow. Yeah, let's go.
Other players expected to play. Aaron Rodgers showed up on the questionable list. We all saw his feet. He'll be fine. Lamar Jackson is expected to give it a go tonight, as is Baker Mayfield. Kareem Hunt was activated off of IR. James Robinson's expected to give it a go. Mike Evans is good to go for the game against the Colts today. Chris Godwin back in the lineup, expected to be for the Buccaneers, which is a big deal if you've got any action on that game. Players who are definitely out today. A.J. Brown obviously was put on IR by the Titans, so people like me who drafted him high, your nightmare is pretty much over. He might be back in 3 weeks. He might be back in 5. It's unclear at this point. Antonio Brown's still going to be out for Tampa Bay. Jordan Howard's out for, I believe he's in Philadelphia, maybe Miami. I could have that wrong. He's moved a few times. Is that Miami? Trosh, you would know better than me.
He's in Philly
behind.
right now.
He's in Philly. Okay. I knew I had that backwards. So that kind of spreads that whole backfield around. Calvin Ridley's obviously still out. Eric Ebron's out. Not that anybody has any Eric Ebron stock. And one that I missed yesterday, Michael Carter of the Jets, promising rookie running back. They put him on IR with an ankle injury, which means that backfield's going to be, Ty Coleman and whichever P Ryan that is that they have in the backfield. There's too many P Ryans in the NFL. There's 2, which is one too many. So that's all I got for the match report this week.
So the Cordero Patterson, is he expected to play?
I haven't seen any reporting this morning. The last reporting was that he's questionable, but he was going to give it a go and that it was going to be a game time decision. I've been checking Twitter, Schefter, Rossini, all the people that would be plugged in. I haven't seen any reporting that says he isn't going to play, but he's still listed as questionable.
Okay, got it. Because we've got like 3 questions about him specifically. So
I'm gonna have Twitter up at 11:30 sharp, and we'll have that news thankfully right away.
Okay.
Yeah, the last post was Rappaport had something at like 6 o'clock Central this morning that he's just a game time decision, and there hasn't been anything since then, which is weird, but maybe that's just an Arthur Smith thing.
All right. Well, as soon as we find that out, if y'all can pass that along, because we got a lot of questions about that. Let me see here. Okay. Let's go ahead and get your bold and cold predictions. Steven, let's start with you.
All right, bold predictions. 2 players I'm looking at today in DFS specifically. They are both projected to be under 5% rostered. First one is Joe Mixon at 7,500. Everyone seems to be flocking out to the cheap running backs like Miles Sanders, James Robinson, all that. But I mean, Joe Mixon has gone 25 plus points in the last 3 games. He gets a home matchup against Pittsburgh. I mean, he seems just to check every single box that you would want. He's a home favorite. They have a 20 plus point team total. And just the usage is elite. I mean, 7,500 is a decent price to pay. Saving up to 1,500 over the likes of Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. I love the upside there. And then wide receiver, we saw a little bit of the pop off last week, but I'm going back to it again. Mike Williams. Hit 20 points, and he was in a groove early on the season. He was top 5 wide receiver. Gets a great matchup with Chris Harris this week. Denver is in the bottom 5 of explosive.
Steven, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But did you watch that Pittsburgh San Diego game or LA game?
Yes.
Did you see the Williams touchdown on the blown coverage? Did you see how he was carrying the ball? That made me so damn nervous. I've got him in a few leagues, and it's literally like a loaf of bread. I'm like, oh my God, would you tuck that ball into your arm? What are you doing? You jackass. You're going to cost me something later in the fantasy league. I can just see it. You're in championship week or you're in a playoff week, whatever, and you see him going down, all of a sudden the ball just squirts out. You're like, oh, we ride to LA. Let's go kick the crap out of them. All right. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I love the upside there. Once again, he's under 5%, projected to be 5% owned, and it just that upside is unmatched. Cold predictions today. Everyone seems to be flocking to Brandon Cooks in this matchup against the Jets, but we saw last week when Houston can control the game, they do not necessarily run it all through Brandon Cooks. He only saw 3 targets last week. Did not run very a lot of routes. And just the Houston pass offense is not very high volume in general. Yes, I mean, there are paths to for Cooks to break the slate, but more it is more likely that he's going to post another 3 for 26 or 5 for 40 game, which 9 points. It's all right, but that's not going to win you anything.
All right, Sean, what you got?
Yeah, so for my cold, I'm seeing a lot of chatter about Elijah Moore. Obviously, coming off one of those crazy, as I call them, Deshaun Jackson weeks, because for years in fantasy he was just notorious for popping one of those 7 for 180 and 3 touchdown games, and then you wouldn't hear from him again for 5 weeks. I think people that are spending $5,600 on him are going to regret spending that money. For the same price, you can get Michael Pittman, who's been targeted at a much higher rate. Keep in mind the first 4 weeks when Zach Wilson was in before he got hurt, Elijah Moore had a total of 11 targets in 4 games. So a lot of this targeting has come with other quarterbacks under center. I don't have any confidence whatsoever in the Jets with Zach Wilson under center right now, because I just haven't seen it. So if you're spending that money, I think it's better spent elsewhere. The other one I want to mention, because this one's just interesting, is at the tight end position. Kyle Pitts is, I believe, 5,900 or almost 6,000. And Pat Fryermuth, how much is he?
6,100.
6,100. For $1,800 less, you can get Pat Fryermuth for 4,300, who, by the way, has more catches, more yards, and more touchdowns than Kyle Pitts. So this is one of those, what the market tells you versus what's actually happening. As McGee loves to say, you have to watch the games. Pat Fryermuth is a big part of Pittsburgh's offense, especially in the red zone at $4,300. He's a huge bold for me today.
Speaking of that, Sean, I noticed in the Los Angeles Pittsburgh game, this is something I've never seen done with the tight end. They bubble screened Fryermuth.
Yep.
And I was like, man, that tells you they just want to get the ball in the guy's hands.
Yep. He's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna come, because again, Ben is just 6 feet of concrete and popsicle sticks glued together with duct tape at this point. But every time they're in the red zone, they're looking for this guy. He's a difference maker with the ball in his hands. He's gonna have one of these 7 for 84 and 3 touchdown games. It's coming sooner or later. He's already got, I think, 4 touchdowns on the year, maybe 5. And he's just a big part of their offense inside the red zone, where, Matt Canada is not very inventive. It's a lot of delayed handoff, fake RPO stuff, a lot of bubble screens, and a lot of tight end flat plays seem to be run inside the 10. So I don't get why he's $1,800 less than Pitts, given the statistics. So those are mine.
I mean, I'd like to add on to that. Over the past 4 weeks, Bengals are allowing the 4th most points to the tight end position and the 2nd most points per game.
There you go. Took the words right out of my mouth. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Do you think it could just be the Jaguar factor, that they're just expecting anyone who plays against the Jaguars is going to immediately get inducted to the Hall of Fame like the next day? They're just like, it's Urban Meyer, dude. He's an idiot. That dude's already packed his bags to LA, man.
He's gone.
Yeah, it's over. I don't know. That's interesting. All right, let's get into the DFS team build.
It is Bobby's turn to lead off, according to the calendar.
Awesome. This is a good week to do it because I like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase today with, like I mentioned, I've said it about twice today. Joe Hayden's out. It's going to have a big impact on this game, especially the passing offense for the Bengals. I see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connecting a lot today, and both of them having big days.
That would make Steven next, then McGee, then me would be last. So you're up, Steven.
No, I'm still getting up to the.
Okay, go next, Mac.
Okay, so you took Burrow and you took Chase, correct?
Yeah, did the stack.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, then I'll go ahead and grab us a running back, and you know what? Screw it. Let's push our chips in. We'll go Joe Mixon. We'll just go ahead and go all in with the Bengals. The guy is just a beast when he's healthy, and against this Pittsburgh's defense, he should be able to get quite a few touches. So you like that there. Whose turn is it next?
I'll go. We give Steven a minute. I'll go ahead and grab our defense, as is my customary thing to do, kind of save some money here for everybody. And I'm going to take one that's a couple of slots down the board, but I'm going to explain my thought process here. I'm going to take the Panthers at $3,100 in Miami. Tua has, I believe, the 3rd or 4th most pressure under center in the National Football League this year. He's been really much better in the second half than he has in the first half. And Carolina's advanced numbers, especially on their pass rush, are incredible. They're getting into the backfield and pressuring the quarterback on like 60% of all dropbacks in the last 4 weeks, which is nuts. So just for that reason alone, and because Tua, even though I like him, he can be a little careless with the ball, especially in the pocket. It gets bashed out of his hands a lot, it seems. I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina at 3,100. Not because I think they're going to give up 7 points, but because I think there's a lot of potential for turnovers.
All right, Steven, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What you got?
I'm gonna make it very quick. We explained it all earlier. Pat Fryermuth, 4,300. Gives its correlation with that Cincinnati game.
There you go.
I know it's in my mix at noon.
All right, Bobby, it's back to you.
All right, I'll save a little bit of money on the running back here for 5,400. I'll go with Elijah Mitchell. I see him having a solid day and a high-scoring game against the Vikings. He's only 5,400 since he's coming back from injury, so I think for that price, he should be worth it. I think he'll have a solid game.
All right, I guess that goes back to me. Let me see here. I'm going to go with the wide receiver. We talked about it. There he is. Save a little bit of money. 5,600, Elijah Moore, going up against that Houston secondary. I honestly think that thing is going to be a shootout. It could be one of the more entertaining games of two teams you don't give a crap about. But Elijah Moore, no Corey Davis, right? That's what we're hearing. Davis is done.
Doubtful.
Yeah,
doubtful.
So,
do you trust Zach Wilson though?
I don't, but I think they're going to find a way to get the ball into Elijah Moore's hands. I'd feel much better about this if Flacco was starting. And I know that sounds crazy, but at the same token, Zach Wilson's also stood on the sidelines for a month, and he might have learned a lot standing back there because the talent is undeniable. But they threw him right into the wood chipper, and maybe him stepping back for a minute, being able to watch things could pay dividends. On the road, I get it, but look, if nothing else, I kind of feel like the Jets are going to be playing from behind, so game script should give Elijah Moore a chance to. All you got to do is get the ball in the guy's hands.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, I guess that's you.
It is me. I'm going to try and save some ducats and leave a lot for Steven to play with in the flex spot. So I'm going to grab a wide receiver that's a little bit down the board, but if you've watched some Patriots games like I have for Mac's favorite player, I don't know if he's bought the jersey yet, one McCorkle Jones. I'm going to take Kendrick Bourne at $4,900. He's been a big play target for Jones all year. I don't know what to think of this game, but my heart tells me that New England is gonna boat race them, as McGee likes to say, because Tennessee's just playing. I mean, they're just playing with the Conference USA roster today. So I don't see how that isn't what happens. But if they bring Tannehill out and if he can find some open guys and move the ball up and down the field a little bit, New England's going to have to respond with the passing game, which they've been very good at doing, especially off play action. So I like Bourne a lot. I liked him in San Francisco when he had a few injuries and just kind of got squeezed out of the rotation. But I've liked him a lot more in New England, and he's had some big plays for them. So 4,900 is his tag, which leaves 5,700 in the flex unless we decide to make changes.
He's just really looking for an identity at this point.
I feel like you chose Bourne just to set this up perfectly for me. So the top two available at 5,700 is Mike Williams, and then we got at 5,600 Michael Pittman. So I love both options today. I like personally in my lineups, I'm going to have a fair amount of both. But for this scenario, for this lineup, I'm just going to spend the full 5,700. I love that upside of Mike Williams. I don't think there are many players at that price range that can match that upside. So I'm going to lock it in 5,700 Mike Williams.
All right. Sounds good. Bobby, let's go to your lock of the day, sir.
All right. My lock of the day. I'm going to go to a divisional game. I'm going to go Eagles versus Giants. I like the Eagles to cover. They're 4-point favorites in this game. Eagles have been playing great football lately. That offense has been a lot more electric than it has in the past, and the Giants are on the downward. They do not look as good as they once did early in the season. So I'm going to take the Eagles to cover the 4-point spread.
All right.
You're not a believer in the upgrade from Jason Garrett to Freddie Kitchens calling plays? You're not in the Kitchens Bowl?
No, not quite. Yeah, that's I don't know. You can't even say. I don't even know what type of decision that was. I mean,
they might
from bad to maybe even worse.
They might score some points because Kitchen did it with Cleveland, but that doesn't mean that the Giants' defense is all of a sudden going to be stalwarts.
That is true. I know Jason Garrett's not a good offensive
It
coordinator.
can't be worse than Garrett, man. Garrett was ridiculous.
It can't, but it can't be good either. I mean, like, it's gonna losing, no matter how bad Garrett is, losing an offensive coordinator, week 4 game, it's gonna throw a little bit of a wrench in things. I think it could cause a little bit of just some miscommunication, some bumps in the road, I guess. But I don't know. I don't think.
I'm sure you guys saw it on social
upgrade.
media, but did you see the play that Garrett dialed up where all 3 receivers ran to the same area on the field?
They all ran into each other. It was
you can't make this stuff up. He was bad in Dallas. He was.
I don't know how he managed to get that job.
He was absorbed in Dallas by good talent because they spent and drafted actually fairly well. It's just tickles me.
I think you'll see them put up some points though. They've got too many. They have too much talent there. And to what Bobby and I were talking about in the first hour, dude, they gave Saquon Barkley the ball 6 times last week. When you're playing the Bucs and you're trying to keep Tom Brady off the field, all you saw all game long was shotgun on 3, ready on. Crap. And then as soon as the ball was snapped, all you saw was Daniel Jones go.
You thought Michigan ran the ball out yesterday. Wait until that Colts Tampa Bay game, because the Colts game plan is going to be, where's Quentin Nelson? We're going to run behind him.
Yeah, well, the Colts.
I don't know if they'll be effective doing it, but they're going to try.
Well, regardless, you have to try to keep Brady off the field.
Yep.
And I do believe that you're going to see a better timeshare with Barkley, McKinnon there. Look, that's one of the things that they did with Freddie up in Cleveland. They ran the ball. And he's also pretty innovative. Head coach, no, he didn't do a good job. I also don't think he was the right guy at the right time. Freddie might be a good head coach down the road somewhere, but he was kind of thrusted into, let's be honest, that Cleveland front office is a disaster. If you saw any of the Hard Knocks stuff, I mean, the guy looks like the guy running the show walks in and you kind of get that feeling of a guy who just bought a restaurant but doesn't know how to turn on a fryer, And that's a feeling that I got from him. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. I think Freddie was put in a bad position, almost an impossible position because of all the hype that was around Mayfield at the time. But anyways, I do think that the Eagles could be sneaky. They could be sneaky because the Cowboys are starting to struggle. Watch out.
I think at least with how easy the remaining schedule for the Eagles is, I think they could definitely get a wild card spot. If not, maybe come back and win the division.
That would, I mean, if you're looking at the wild card right now in the NFC, because obviously let's just assume it's Arizona, Green Bay, Tampa, and Dallas winning the divisions.
You got the Rams for sure.
The Rams will, yeah, exactly. The Rams should get a wild card. So then it's really coming down to Eagles, Niners, Vikings. I'm not convinced the Panthers are going to do anything, and the Saints look like an absolute dumpster fire.
I like the Vikings and the Eagles in that one.
I give the Seattle Seahawks a better chance of running the table and getting back into the picture than I do the Saints doing anything.
Yeah, well, I think that's fair. Russell Wilson, he's struggled though since coming back from that injury. I don't know if he tried to come back too early. He's only got
7 in a row, and then they can finish 10-7. It's doable when you're 3-7 to be expected to win 7 in a row. I mean, come on, let's go.
Philly to win the division, by the way, has gone down. It was plus 875 last week. It's now plus 575. So Vegas is paying attention.
When is their next matchup? Dallas and Philly, because I think if I'm right on this, it's the last game of the season. Wow.
That'll be fun. That could be really fun.
Philly's got it lined up like Bobby was saying. Giants, Jets, Skins, Giants, Skins, and then the Cowboys.
Woo!
Dude,
they could run the table until that last game.
Yeah, like that's a schedule.
Well,
that's a schedule that I would have invented for myself on the old college football PlayStation game, where you can. I'm going to play MTSU in week 1, and week 2 I'm going to play Western Kentucky.
back to.
I don't want to play any
NTT3.
conference games till around week 9 because I'm trying to figure out what the Y button does. Yeah, that's a Philly. You said it's plus 575 right now, Sean.
Yep.
This
is on Caesars and BetMGM. But
by the way, Steven, are you aware that they could be shutting down the app?
I was just talking about that with Brian before we jumped on the show.
Any news on that? Have you heard?
No, it's just currently everything's being appealed. It's in the courts, and just whenever they get it figured out.
When is that vote? I thought that vote was coming up really soon.
I'm not exactly sure on the timeline.
Because if that vote goes through, then basically all they have to do is buy us time in the courts, push everything back.
Yeah.
Somebody in Florida is trying to stop voting apps or betting apps.
They're trying to prevent the betting app that is live because only the Seminole Indian tribe runs it, and it's the other ones. It's the DraftKings and all the others.
Mm-hmm.
They're pissed off because they want a piece of the pie.
Gotcha.
And they don't feel like it's fair. So they.
Well, a long story short with it, the general agreement is that any betting in Florida has to be placed on tribal lands. With this whole mobile betting, they placed that they're trying to say that since the servers are on tribal land and all the bets are being processed on tribal land,
right,
mobile betting should work. But technically, all the bets are being placed wherever you are with your phone. So it's just DraftKings and Yahoo, FanDuel, basically saying that. Yeah, they're basically trying to close that loophole so they can get, like Dave said, get a piece of the pie.
Well, plus DeSantis passed a bill earlier in the year that basically made it legal for them to do it, and now a judge is coming and saying it's not fair, and so that's basically the cliff notes of the whole thing.
That's just money. They'll settle it. They did something. There was a similar thing in Arizona with the Gila River.
The smart thing. Do the right thing.
Breaking news! Cordero Patterson is active.
Okay.
Ooh.
And is playing.
Do the right thing. Pay the judge under the table and get this thing pushed through. Bobby, what is your one big thing today?
I'm going to say the Chargers, they go on the road today and they win a big divisional game against the Broncos.
Wow.
And that helps their shots at winning the AFC West this year against the Chiefs team that's kind of starting to go on the upswing.
Herbert's career numbers against the AFC West, over 330 yards a game and averages over 2 3/4 touchdowns per game. He loves to play the AFC West. That's a good one, Bobby.
Awesome.
All right, brother. We will see you next weekend for the college football championships and obviously Handicappers as well.
Awesome. Sounds good. You guys have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Take it easy, Bobby.
Let's take a really quick break to reset. I got to pull up a couple of things and get the start of sit-ems ready to roll. So we'll take a quick break and smoke them if you got them. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying? No, I got to get my money. I'm not playing unless I get mine. It's not worth it. It's not.
For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Big Four with 28.8 seconds left. The league will play the game.
Armchair Quarterbacks Radio, covering the NHL like no other.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
I can't file. I can't type. I don't take dictation. I won't sharpen pencil. My boss calls me indispensable.
Miss Jones,
Just a minute.
will you make a copy of this?
Naturally. I push the button on the Xerox 914. I make perfect copies of whatever my boss needs by just turning a knob and pushing a button. Anything he can see, I can copy in black and white on ordinary paper. And am I fast? I can make 7 copies in a minute. Sometimes my boss asks me which is the original, and sometimes I don't know.
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays, your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
What's going on here, guys?
All right, Coach. So basically, it was a holding call. But these dudes started me in their fantasy league, which is cool because this dude started our quarterback, but he started our kicker, and I started their defense. So it's kind of a pickle.
Compromising the integrity of this game with your fantasy football leagues? Listen to me. If there was holding, you make that holding call. I don't care if it was on our team or not. I care about this game too much to let you.
Coach, you started their defense too, didn't you?
Yeah, you definitely started their defense.
Damn right I did.
Armchair.
If only the world was less like this.
I could use a smoke.
Hey, put that out.
And more like this.
I could use a smoke.
You murderer! I might have children one day.
Smoking kills, unless you kill first. If you're around a smoker, you will die. Smokers may look relaxed and like they're having fun. Don't believe it. Vote yes on Proposition 421. Let's outlaw smoking everywhere, even in people's homes, and allow honest citizens to legally kill anyone who smokes. Let's live in a world without smokers. Prohibition works. Let's prove it. Vote yes on Proposition 421.
Armchair.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Your eyes hot water, your head satellite. Okay, will break. Someone's gonna lose a finger. Your hair is all diesel. The earth makes a spark, goes into instant tattoo names black and broken. Your hands are in contact.
Good morning.
Gloves on a chain.
We are back. Week number 12.
Your eyes hot water.
We needed that last bit.
Whoops. That's the 2021 remix. All right. So week number 12, and things are getting super serious around here. You got 3 weeks to the playoffs, and it's a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many teams I have that are either 5-6 or 6-5. I mean, and they all take turns winning and losing. I'm like, you can definitely tell that I drafted certain teams one way and certain teams another way. She gets like, oh, this week half your teams won. Also, half the teams lost. The next week they flip flop each other. Thankfully, my 32 teams that I have, a few of them are about to get mathematically eliminated, and I can just dump them into the dumpster fire. All right. Let's go ahead and start off. The first one we have here, it is a flex question. Do you start Devontae Smith, Adam Thielen, or OBJ? Sean?
One of three?
Yeah, just one.
That's Devontae Smith for me. I'm not touching OBJ under any circumstances. So that really comes down to Smith, versus, sorry, what was the second name? I just blanked.
Thielen.
Thielen, right. Sorry. Jefferson went in my head for some reason. That comes down to Smith versus Thielen. Either one's really good, but I like Smith today. He's probably going to be matched up against Bradbury if he can give it a go. But I don't know. I think they're going to force Jalen Hurts to throw the ball. They're going to try and probably keep 5 in, probably put a robber on Hurts to keep him from scrambling so much. So he's going to have to chuck it a little bit today to win.
Steven, what say you?
I like Sean said, I like both plays this week, but I actually prefer Thielen. I think he's really set up in a good game environment. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring in that game. I definitely think Thielen scores a touchdown today.
All right. Next one up here is, I just lost. Okay, here we go. All right. Well, obviously you're starting Dalvin Cook. So the real question is, Do you go Marquise Brown or Kareem Hunt in the flex, Sean?
Kareem Hunt in that matchup. Baltimore's been gashed on the ground most of this year.
Steven?
Yeah, I'm going to go Hunt, but I do like the upside of Hollywood.
That is the Sunday night game. Ooh, well, we still don't know if Aaron Jones is playing, right?
Yeah, he's made a game time decision, but I kind of feel like last week we were saying with Kyler, Packers go into a bye next week.
They're not going to start him.
Yeah, they're definitely going to give Aaron Jones the extra week of rest.
Yeah, I don't know why you would hurry him back. It's not like you're struggling to make the playoffs right now.
It's more Jones
I bless
himself
you, whoever that is.
Like trying to push to play, like knowing they need a win today.
The next one is T. Higgins, Sutton, Fant, Damian Harris, or Alex Collins needs one in a flex. So I believe when they're saying one in a flex, they're talking about need one receiver in a flex. So once again, T. Higgins, Sutton, Fant, Damian Harris, Alex Collins, and it's a 0.5 point PPR. Sean, start with you.
Harris for sure in the flex. So the question comes down to the receivers: Sutton, Fant, and T. Higgins. Sutton, Fant, T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd's been out targeting T. Higgins the last couple of weeks, so I don't love that one. If you'd be mistaken for not watching a lot of Broncos games, but for some reason I have. They target Noah Fant a lot. Teddy Bridgewater really likes him. I'm not convinced that Cortland Sutton's healthy. He hasn't looked right since he came back. He hasn't had a big game. So I'm going to say Fant Harris on that one. I'm ducking Alex Collins.
One receiver between Higgins and Sutton.
Oh, okay. So, okay. I didn't know if it was one of those WRT things. Okay. So in that case, yeah, that changes things up a little bit. I guess give me Sutton and Harris would be the situation there.
Steven?
Yeah, I'm going to tail that one. I like it.
Hey, real quick, because I've kind of got a weird start off to this morning, so my mind's kind of all over the place. Have we done your DFS of integrity?
We did not.
Okay, I didn't think we did. I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. That's why we had extra time. The time we were, chuckle-lucking with Bobby about nothing. Really quick, if y'all could squeeze those in, and then I'll get the other questions organized.
Yeah, I'll start right off. I'm once again going my cash lineup. Starting at quarterback, Tyrod Taylor 5,300, just super cheap. Love the rushing upside. Christian McCaffrey at 9,000. The volume is there. He just he is the full package. James Robinson 6,200. I like the bounce back spot against the weak Atlanta rush defense. Chris Godwin at 7,000. Michael Pittman at 5,600. We touched on him a bit earlier. I punted a receiver here at 3,200 with Dez Fitzpatrick for Tennessee. Last week, he led receivers the Titans receivers in snaps with 79%, got 6 targets and a touchdown. I think they're going to try to lean on him this game. Tight end, I went Dallas Goedert, 4,800. Flex, I went Deontay Johnson at 6,600. He's just a PPR target monster. And in a game, they should be playing from behind. And then Texans defense at 2,300.
And mine really quick. I'm all over the Patriots action this week. So I've got McCorkle Jones himself at 5,400 in my quarterback spot. And I'm bridging that with Kendrick Bourne at 4,900. And then also starting the Patriots defense at 3,900. I don't see how Tennessee's going to move the ball today. I just really don't. At my running back spots, I've got Joe Mixon. And in a surprise twist, you'll love this one, Steven, because you like stats. Boston Scott at 4,000. I'm going to give you some numbers really quick. In 4 games against the Giants, Boston Scott has the following numbers: 222 rushing yards with 5 touchdowns and 14 catches for 210 yards and a score. Jordan Howard's out today. I know they have Kenneth Gainwell and they use him a little bit and sprinkle him in, but for whatever reason, Boston Scott only has 840 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns in his entire career. He has almost a quarter of that against the New York Giants. So they're going to turn him. Sirianni's going to turn him loose. I'm convinced of it. Pittman at 5,600. Jalen Waddle at 5,900, Pat Frymuth at 4,300. We talked about him earlier. And then my one big heavy hitter that I spent on was Austin Eckler at 8,400 at Denver, who has a banged up defense and has struggled covering running backs, especially out of the backfield. Eckler's just a monster right now. So I'm going to ride him until he gives me a reason not to.
All right. We'll get right back to it. By the way, Boston Scott and CMC, I'm convinced they had a kid. His name's Vaughn. He plays at Kansas State. Do you see this kid run?
No.
He's like 4 feet tall, but runs like the wind. And I mean, I'm interested to see if he'll have an NFL career. I've seen him play a couple of times, but for whatever reason, I've kind of forgotten about him. And the other day I was watching the Kansas State game. And I mean, dude, when he hits the corner, that dude is gone. But literally, he's like this tall, which I don't know. I mean, he kind of looks like if Boston Scott hit the weight room. I mean,
Maurice Jones-Drew.
It is just it's insane. All right, back to the picks. All right, what is this? Who should I start as my tight end moving forward? So basically, talking about he has Zach Moss and Breida on his bench, and he's going to drop one of them for a tight end, but he wants to know the answer of moving forward. So you got Knox, Godere, and Schultz. Sean, what say
you? That's tough. Those are all pretty good tight ends. Just because of their coming matchups, I would say roll with Godere. Because Godere has been a real target for Hurts, especially when he's been scrambling on the run. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those three. I think Schultz has the least upside, and Knox might have the highest floor just because of what their offenses do. But Godere has been a target, especially in the red zone for Hurts. So, and with Hurts not there anymore, he's basically the keeper, of the kingdom at this point. So, give me Godere.
Steven?
I have zero to add to that. Godere.
And are you dropping Moss or you dropping Breida?
Oh, dropping Moss.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what the rest of his bench looks like, but I almost say drop both of them and pick up two of those tight ends.
No.
What the hell is Breida and Moss going to bring to you long term?
I mean, Breida has been getting a lot of usage in that offense recently. So it could be nothing, but it could be something. I mean, Singletary and Moss have shown zero this season, and even in their careers to suggest they're even worthy of a spot on that roster. So,
yeah, I kind of believe that. Okay, so like this last game in a situation where if he was going to eat, he would have eaten this last weekend. He had 26 yards rushing and 29 yards receiving. He did get in the end zone on a touchdown, which made it a good day because of that. But that's only if you're in a really deep league. I mean, if you're getting 26 yards, 29 yards and a touchdown, that's not the greatest outing. So I don't know. I don't know what his bench looks like, but I almost would want to double down on the fact that you could almost use one of those tight ends in a flex from time. I would rather flex Godere or Schultz in a flex most weeks than put Breida or Moss in there. That's just me, but
okay. I mean, like also one factor there. I do think I like going off what you're saying. I like Knox in that offense better than I like Breida. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind picking up Knox and Godere.
I think if he hadn't gotten injured earlier in the year, he would have been a fantasy stud this year, like top to bottom. But all that time missed, that probably hurt a lot of issues that they had going there. All right, next one is oof. He asterisk says, I know. he says, I know Mitchell is playing, but do I start David Johnson, McKissick, or Jeff Wilson Jr.? Half point PPR.
Honestly, McKissick in a half point PPR because he's going to catch passes. I don't like any of them.
Is forfeit an option? Can you just
Steve? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leading McKissick with the PPR upside, but I do think David Johnson has some touchdown upside this week.
Barkley or Dillon, Sean?
Ooh, it's a tough one, but I like AJ Dillon. I'm actually on the Packers on that game. I think people are drinking too much of the Rams Kool-Aid and haven't watched them.
Isn't it strange that they're underdogs at home?
I don't get it. I mean, Vegas has been right way more than I have this year, but I've seen the Rams get utterly dominated every time that they've had to fight or play hard or muscle up for a big game. And this, they don't get any bigger than this. And Aaron Rodgers, for all the talk about how good Ramsey is, the last time Adams faced him, he kind of cooked him. So, there's only one Devontae Adams, y'all. I'm just saying.
And for whatever reason, the line's going up.
Yeah. Last I saw it was at 2. What is it at now?
It's at 2.5 now.
Woo! Green Bay plus 2.5 at home. Come on, against a busted up Matt Stafford. Everybody's going to see what I saw for 11 years. He has great arm talent, but he doesn't make it through 16 games. Yeah,
that's just a strange one. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of that, but that is a strange one. Steven, see, next pickup. Here we go. Well, we don't know if that guy's playing yet or not. So let's go down to Elijah Mitchell or Devontae Freeman.
Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah. Sean, Fournette or Moore? I believe that's Elijah Moore.
Yeah, it would have to be. Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, the Colts have been really stingy on the ground. I do like Lenny, but give me Elijah Moore. I said what I said earlier. I don't think Wilson is going to find him, but with what he's done the last couple of weeks, you got to kind of ride him until he burns you.
Steven, Elijah Moore or Cordero Patterson?
I'm going to go Cordero Patterson. I do like the upside of Moore today, but I think that the Falcons are really going to try to find a way to get him involved and try to get him in the end zone. Like he's what really drives this offense right now.
Sean, Pittman or Thielen?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with Pittman because I think Tampa Bay is going to force Carson Wentz to beat them. They might put 9 in the box.
Someone's really asking Dalvin Cook or AJ Dillon.
What?
Yeah, I mean, come on now.
I hope you didn't pay for that league. If you did, quit playing fantasy football. What's the matter with you?
I'm assuming they're listening. I mean, it's Dalvin Cook. Unless you see that his foot fell off in the shower or something, it's Dalvin Cook.
Right.
Because first of all, you don't even know if Dylan's going to get all the carries, because if Jones does come back, I could see them even bringing Jones back and he's in a limited role, but they've cultured.
They've got the rookie from Mississippi State they've used in pass packages too. Conleth Hill, I think his name is. So Dylan's not
Kylan Hill yet.
What's that?
I'm just
No, I was just saying it's Kylan Hill. No, but I completely agree. But like last week, even with Jones out, they really didn't increase Dylan's workload that much, and it just led to a bunch more Rodgers pass attempts.
Steven, are you going Russell Wilson or are you going to go Kirk Cousins?
I am off the Russell train for right now. That offense is just broken. Give me Kirk Cousins. I like the upside today.
I'm so pigeonholed in the league that has no name. So I drafted Russell Wilson, and literally I think everyone in the league has 6 quarterbacks. There's nothing on the waiver wire. So he finally came off the IR, and I was out there shuffling around. I was out there streaming like Joe Flacco and stuff like that. So finally I get him off the IR. Now I've got to start him and just hope he falls into the end zone somehow. Sean, Marvin Jones or Jamison Crowder?
Yikes. Just because I don't trust Jacksonville's offense as far as I can throw them, I'll say Crowder, but woof. There's got to be better things on the waiver wire than that. Whoever sent that question, maybe not, but
Kenny Golladay or Tyler Boyd, Steven?
Tyler Boyd. I cannot trust Kenny Golladay in that offense.
All right, we'll do a couple rapid fires real quick. Sean, Pittman, DJ Moore, Ayuk.
Pittman, DJ Moore, Ayuk. I do like DJ Moore a lot today. We haven't said his name much. He's going to be on Howard Island, but he's a guy they get the ball to no matter what.
Steven, Nick Chubb or Brandon Cooks in your flex, full point PPR?
Nick Chubb.
Sean, Waddle or Crowder or Elijah Moore?
Got him in my cash lineup. No reason to buck him now. Jalen Waddle. I think he could have a big day.
Steven, Carson Wentz or Cam Newton?
Carson Wentz, actually.
Sean, Bateman or Freiermuth?
Freiermuth.
Steven, Godare, Javonte Williams or OBJ?
Godare.
Sean, Dylan Kittle or Mitchell on a flex half-point PPR?
For those that haven't been paying attention, George Kittle's been a monster since he came back from that injury. So give me all the Kittle.
Steven, Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence?
Oh,
I'm thinking this guy's got like freaking Pat Mahomes on a bye or something.
yeah.
At least I hope that's what it is.
Trevor Lawrence for me.
Melvin Gordon, Bateman or OBJ? Sean.
Melvin Gordon, Bateman, OBJ. I'm going to go with Gordon just because I think he'll touch the ball more.
Steven Patterson or Cooks?
Patterson.
And Sean, one more. Javonte Williams or Elijah Moore?
I'm going to say Elijah Moore.
And Steven, one more. Higgins, Judy, Pitts, or Freeman. Can only pick one, and it's a full PPR flex position. So T. Higgins, Judy, Pitts, or Freeman.
Give me Kyle Pitts today.
All right. So let's go ahead and go into our locks and the one big thing. Steven, what is your lock of the day?
Whew, these lines are moving. So like I'm going to go ahead and lock in Bengals at -3.5. I just said like they've been slacking a little bit, but they're also getting a Steelers offense that is a little bit banged up. Not a great matchup for the Bengals run defense. I think Bengals are going to recover in a big way today.
All right, Sean, what say you?
I do have a thing for home dogs, but I'm going to take a road dog today, and I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings, who are currently getting 3.5 in San Francisco. East to west, I think people have gotten thrown off the scent a little bit and think San Francisco is a little bit better than they are. And conversely, I watched each of the last 4 Vikings games. They are really clicking on all cylinders. They've got it all working. They're in a person alive that's covering Justin Jefferson right now. And if you put 3 dudes on him, good luck stopping Cousins anywhere else. So I'm going to take the Vikings plus 3.5. I think the Vikings are sneaky. I think they're going to get into one of those wild card spots if they don't fall apart.
All right, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots are giving up 7. And they're at home against a Tennessee Titan team that honestly doesn't have a single player that you would recognize playing in the skill positions. So you do the math, but I feel like New England's playing really well. They're at home, and I also really like the under in that game too. I mean, this has got like 26-7 written all over this thing. So there's my lock. For people that missed it earlier, Bobby's lock was Philly -4. All right. One big thing. Steven, what's your one big thing that's going to happen today?
One big thing that, like I said, on top of the Bengals winning big today, I think the Jaguars are actually going to come out and get a big win over the Falcons today.
Sean, what is your one big thing?
My one big thing, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 0-5 against the spread on the road this season. Does that end in Indianapolis against a team that has been playing very, very well the last couple of weeks? I'm not 100% sure. I'm kind of staying off of this game. I don't really know how to feel one way or the other. And obviously, I'm emotionally invested since my son's a Colts fan. But I think the Colts could pull the upset. And I don't think it would be that much of an upset if they did. A really quick walk-off for me. You see the scene behind me. Yesterday was the last game for Michigan's play-by-play radio voice, Jim Brandstetter, who's been with the University of Michigan since the mid-1980s, been calling games as the play-by-play guy since 2013 with Dan Deerdorf. I listened to a lot of the game yesterday just to hear it through his voice one more time. Man, I can't think of a better way for it to have ended. So that's kind of my walk-off for the day.
He's not going to do like the Big Ten championship game or anything?
It was his last regular season home game at Michigan State.
Okay.
It was his last. It was his last game in the Big House. He's retiring at the end of this year.
I didn't know if he was like in bad health or something and couldn't.
No. He did Lions games for years, and he stopped doing that after 2017. And it was known that he was going to retire at some point because he's been around since the mid-'70s. He is to Michigan football what Gene Deckerhoff is to Florida State, in my opinion. I've always loved hearing his voice. I'm not sure who's going to take over for him. They haven't announced yet. I think it's going to be John Jansen, who was a center and left tackle at Michigan.
So is Deerdorf doing Michigan games nowadays?
Yeah, Deerdorf is the color guy. Brandstatter's play-by-play. He played offensive tackle for Michigan in the 70s, and John Jansen is in the studio. And I think Jansen's next because he has a really good, he's a really good voice. He's a smart guy. Played in the league for a little while. Could be Jumbo Elliott. I don't know who they'll bring in, but it was bittersweet. It wasn't bittersweet. Nothing was bittersweet about yesterday. It was bittersweet to think that, that was the last game I'll hear him call in the big house. Because I've listened to him since, he did the Michigan Weekly television show, which was the only place when I was a kid that I would see, Bo Schembechler, in a conversation space, or Gary Moeller or Lloyd Carr. He's hosted that weekly TV show forever for like 30 years. And yesterday was amazing, but I'll miss Jim's voice for sure.
My one big thing, it ties into my lock. New England Patriots win yet another game, and it sets up a showdown of a game that Tones and I are going to be doing next Monday night. The Patriots versus the Bills, and they've got 2 games set for each other over the next few weeks. This division is looking more and more like a New England Patriots division, and I think they continue to play well and get the dub today. I do believe it looks like Buffalo might have fixed some things, so that should be a hell of a showdown. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get out of here. Everyone, great luck to you on your bets and everything, and have a hopefully a healthy week 12, because guys are dropping like flies, and the last thing you need going down the stretch is to see your running back spit the bit like the way 19 of my leagues with Derrick Henry did. So, good times. We'll see you next week.